Dimp Digital presents Idle Game Chat.
Cool.
So Logan, let's get straight into it. Fantasy Gaming League update. Another one on the docket for you. Mortal Kombat 1 coming out of the woodwork to score, at present, an 88. We'll talk about the reviews perhaps in a bit. This gives you a current points total of 780, meaning if you were to score 73 or above, you would hold the new record for the Fantasy Gaming League Championship. And it's Football Manager 2024, which I do have some news on later on, so there will be some little strands between these little segments. I mean, you must be smiling ear to it. It's almost become a competition now just to beat records and not even worry about Parky.
I've been bitten before. So, anything, for some reason, this would be the year when they don't hit their mid-80
We're going to delay it till January 2024.
Or something like that.
To incorporate the Saudi Pro League properly.
Yeah,
You daren't say anything.
Optimistic. I daren't say anything, but it's a good position to be in. Like that's for sure. And I kind of feel like, in a weird kind of way, it's a bit of a hollow record point score, because I think, as we've said on multiple podcasts before, this has been sort of, I wouldn't say unprecedented, but it's definitely been a year unlike there have been in many years, where we've got so many high-scoring, well-reviewed games. And obviously, with the old Fantasy Gaming League piece, there is luck and fortune involved in terms of who you get in terms of the pick and what games they picked. So, there is actually, in reality, very little that's within my control in it. Yeah. So it's a weird kind of... it's a bit different when you pick your 10 games and you're actually in that Grand Prix. Yeah. And you're in and amongst it and you've got more liberty. But really, you're kind of just at the behest of everyone else and making a few small decisions that might twist it in your favour. But ultimately, I could get... like Adkins, who, I don't know who you'd say are the three top knowledgeable people, but if you well, this is, I mean, it's the best of a bad bunch in some ways, but Adkins usually does well. Yeah. Paul claims to know, but makes it too complicated for himself. But basically, even if you had what you deemed your ideal team, like, one of those can just go off and pick something completely mental. Like, even Adkins, got lucky with Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even a valid pick at the start of the season. And then Open Critic unprecedentedly flushed all the reviews out from the early access and then put it back to 0, so is valid again. So,
yeah, and like that literally never happens. There's always an element of fortune in it. But it's gone well. Like, even the games that we did have, we subbed out and got good scores for them. So yeah, I think overall it's gone well so far. I'm pleased.
Yeah. Well, I just looked, actually, it's gone down to an 87 Mortal Kombat. One of the things with Mortal Kombat 1 is, I don't know what's going on with the review process, but there's only like 15 reviews at present. Yeah. Now, you'd be hard pressed to say it's going to drop significantly by enough for it to be a problem, but it's worth just caveating the scores that it's not got... I like to look when there's 100 odd reviews and you think it's not going to move. It might go up 1, it might go down 1, but it ain't going to go down by 5 or any more than that. But it's still, I mean, the early signs are this is going to be a good one to have. Adkins also has it in his team, so he's laughing all the way to the bank with that. Was he the one that had Street Fighter as well? No, I thought he had picked up all the fighting games that were trying to come out, but he subbed out Tekken. Hall's been in the transfer market, getting rid of Tut, so he's got rid of Tempest Rising, and he's transferred in this F-099, which was revealed at the Nintendo Direct. Interesting choice, in my view, because I'm not sure... I don't know about these 99 games. I think everyone wanted F-Zero back for obvious reasons, but did they want the 99 version Battle Royale take on it? I don't think they did, so I'll be interested to see how that one ends up coming out in the wash, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and there hasn't been one for many, many years, if I remember rightly.
No, F-Zero has been dormant for a long, long time, and I'm not convinced bringing it back in that format. I mean, it looks fun.
Updated version, mate. It brought it updated into what people in 2023 want.
Maybe. I mean, what they did, they did a Tetris 99, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they did a Super Mario 99, so they have. This is like their little thing, isn't it? They do a little 99 way of doing it, and was it Pac-Man 99? Was that one as well? Maybe there wasn't a Mario one.
I briefly remember that. Yeah, but basically they've kind of revived the classics in this format, and there's this like early hype around them that then seems to rapidly dwindle away, I think. Yeah, sort of
So look, Tetris 99 released in 2019 got an 83, only 28 reviews. Pac-Man 99 released in 2021 got an 80, 21 reviews. I can't find the Mario one. If I find it at some point, I'll be sending those updates. Yeah, I don't like the search engine on OpenCritic. Doesn't so it feels like it's one of those ones. If you don't get it exact, you don't always bring it up. And I'm like, well, I'm close enough where you should be figuring that out and not bringing up stuff that I haven't put in. Which
should be a keyword search, really. Yeah. It's kind of like, but it does matches, which is annoying. More
feedback for them. But that's what's been going on in the Fantasy Gaming League. Let's take a very, very quick look at some of the reviews. I've been a bit shoddy on this lately. I wasn't sure whether it was worth continuing with, if I'm honest. These reviews.
Ronnie, well, I think at the very least it's good to do a temperature check and say this is
take the piss out of Hobby Consolares or whoever it is, which always seems to get on the menu.
Yeah.
They're always there day one. To be fair to them, so Spain are getting the Spanish language consumers are getting served very well.
They get called lazy, these Spaniards, having siestas and whatnot. But what can you say? They're there. They're working on it and they're getting their stuff out day one. So can they be criticised?
Don't think so. They're always there.
I think if you don't want to do the reviews for whatever reason, I think it's good to say this is highest, this is lowest, this is the realm in which you're operating in. Whether that's any value or not.
Let's do that then. Let's start with the lowest first because it's on the higher end, this particular game, so we get the toot out of the way with. Christopher Teuton from Screen Rant. Now, this is a star rating system, which I know you love. He's given it 3.5 stars. What's that? 7?
I was going to go 6 then. I was like, oh, God, yeah, 7 out of 10.
Which ain't bad. Mortal Kombat 1 reboots the series for the second time in 30 years, and while the fighting is good, it's clear everyone is unsure how to move forward. Ominous. He's suggesting story elements there. Well, to be honest, the one thing that interests me about this game is that it's a reboot, because the arcs have been going on for years on end, and it's nice just to get a clean slate. But my understanding is the person who, in lore and in canon, as we were speaking about offline earlier this week, in the canon, the guy that the universe got rebooted by one guy, I can't remember his name, people are going to be putting their hair out. But he knows he's done it, I think. So which to me suggests it's not a true reboot, because it's still a strand of, someone's done it in the universe. So if you follow the timeline, someone did this. Whereas a reboot to me is like, forget about what happened before, we're going in a new direction, if that makes sense. But
I can completely understand in some games why people want the backstory and feel the need, like you do, to work through.
Is Mortal Kombat one of the essentials for that?
So this is what I was going to go to. It's like, people ain't playing that for a rich backstory. Surely.
To be fair, here's what I would say about the developers for this, NetherRealm Studios. I've played their the DC fighting games they did. I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember what they were called now. Injustice.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and they actually had decent sort of 5 to maybe 7 to 10 hour story modes. Like it actually wasn't so for a fighting game. Like I went through and played through both of the campaigns, and I was like, yeah, it's fun. And you could make choices who you fight as in certain situations, and the story slightly changes. You have to win to continue. It's kind of one of those weird. Not weird, I suppose that's in most games. You have to succeed, don't you, to continue the story?
Yeah. You can't die and they go,
no, there's no branching paths, which would be fun to explore. Like they'll be interested to see a bit of a a non-linear fighting game where your losses incorporate into the story and give you a different ending, but that'll do people's head in.
You can't play with that character anymore.
Oh, they
for
die.
The rest of the time.
They're dead. They get their head ripped off in Mortal Kombat. But NetherRealm Studios have done some good work and on the story front. So I think out of the fighting games, they're seen as one of the better ones for that. So
yeah,
I need to read into
stories
it more.
in racing games. It's kind of like you're there. It's just put around it for some purpose.
Well,
no.
Well, we have.
No.
We've discussed about booking in F123
I know.
for a review. It's not coming this episode, but in the future that'll be there, and that does have a story mode, and there could be surprises.
It's like when they did it in FIFA with the thingy, the journey, and it's kind of like okay, but it doesn't like you're still just ultimately just doing the same thing.
Yeah,
and that's the problem I have.
It's just scenario-based gameplay for what is typically a game that doesn't have scenarios. You just play like a racing game. You just do
just a versus, isn't it? It's a competitive game.
It puts you in it puts you on the back foot and says, "Deal with that. You're 2-1 down. Dig yourself out," and you're like, "Okay," and that's kind of the story. But same with the racing game. We'll go through that of F1, but you're putting like, "Oh, you've had an incident lap 1, make up 5 places by this time." You're like, "Okay," but yeah, I think that it's good that they have a decent story if they can get it. And Mortal Kombat 1, given what NetherRealm have done previously, I would be interested in sniffing at. But this fake reboot scares me. If there's someone in that world that knows it's happened, then it can't be done. Because who knows? He might fucking unboot it, and it'll all be canonical, won't it? Because the guy went, "Now I'll unboot that." You ain't having the reset.
I love the way that your brain works because I just would be like, oh, fancy playing a fighting game. What's the latest one? Oh, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, or you've got Street Fighter, and I go, which one do I prefer? I played them all when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I've never really got into fighting games because I always struggle with the purpose anyway. I'm like, it's not. I don't know. I suppose it's a similar thing to saying, "Oh, I've played a few games of FIFA or Pro." Like it's like, why would you go on and do that? And I feel like that with fighting games. And plus, I'm just far too fucking old now. I literally haven't played one.
Yeah.
For 25 years.
I'm no good at them. Never have been. Never will be.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that, unfortunately. But let's have a look at some of the positive reviews. We've got James Mitchell topping the charts from Press Start. Don't have start buttons anymore, so that's now probably a retro. He'll be seen as...
Do you miss the start button?
Do
you miss the start button?
Well, the PlayStation has that... I don't know what the play... I don't know. I don't like the fact that they're the same. They're just symbols now.
You've got one that's just like got a light, and then the other one is like menu. I don't like a menu button.
And then you've got that middle, that touchpad is like the start button now. Yeah. The Xbox has got 2 buttons still, and it's got that Xbox button that takes you to the dashboard. I don't know. I think that when they started doing all that shit, I was like, I don't know what problem you're trying to solve by doing this.
Start and select.
I mean, what's Nintendo got? Let's have a look here. Now they've got a home button and a minus button. I mean, what are we doing? It was easy with start and select. It didn't matter if it didn't make any sense. But we knew
everyone's just was comfortable with it.
The one on the right paused the game, and then the one on the left did something else. And that was how it went.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, James Mitchell's flying the flag with Press Start, so we appreciate that. Mortal Kombat 1 is a joyful reinvention of a series that is continually hitting its stride. A strong and varied roster is bolstered by an ingenious cameo system that offers up a great degree of player flexibility, unlike anything else. While it's a bit of an odd choice not to have cross-play at launch, interesting, and the approach to the gear is bound to be divisive, so there's probably some level of maybe monetization or just blow or grind required there. Mortal Kombat 1 feels like the most complete Mortal Kombat experience so far, and perhaps even one of the best fighting games I've ever played. So unfortunately, I haven't got time to delve into James Mitchell's history about how many fighting games he has played, because when you make statements like that, I should hope that you've been reviewing all of them. But that's the more positive look of Mortal Kombat 1. Seemingly on track to do at least mid to high 80s at this stage, and we'll track it if it drops off significantly and puts Logan in a bit of a precious cooker to try and get that record over the line. But needless to say, it's put him in a good position. I will just flick back to the Fantasy Game League because there's an interesting stat I've got here from the Grand Prix. So you got Adkins, who's only got 4 games out. So he's still under pressure there, but he's just got to make a few changes, and who knows? His average is still 92, which is in excess of 12 points above anyone else that's in the competition. So just get the games out, and he's going to be in a good position, most likely. So he's got 4 games out. Next up is Adcock, who's got 5 games out. He's got 342 points. So Adkins is behind him with 300. No, sorry, what am I talking about? Sorry, 353 for Adkins, 362 for Adcock. He's 9 points behind him with 1 game less. He's caught up a whole game on him almost.
I mean, that doesn't look great, does it? From an Adcock perspective.
Well, Hall's not much better. He's only on 372, so it's a 20-point delta, which isn't really a great sign, is it? With 1 game less.
No, true. Yeah.
Is Adkins just on fire, or have these lot just absolutely fluffed
He's had a ridiculous... Well, I think there might be an element of both. I think all of Adkins' games so far have been a bit driller, haven't they? They've been... Nothing
lower than an 87 so far.
Which is just, I would say, I'd almost commit unprecedented.
Yeah.
Like, it's mad. So he's done well, but as you say, it puts the pressure on the last sort of 6 games for him.
Yeah.
In a very short space of time.
Everyone else, other than Hall, has had a 60 in there, a 60 rated game, or between 60 and 70 rated. Hall's lowest is a 71. So those blowers have really dragged everyone's scores down this year. They've struggled, but we will see how it all pans out. Let's get into the introduction. This is Idle Game Chat, Dimp Digital's flagship video game podcast. Got myself apps here running some level of operation now, probably more so than when I used to say that every week, because there's actually a stream deck here, there's transitions, it's all done live but not streamed live, so there's actually more stuff to be getting on with. We've got Logan here, who's the FGL Grand Prix winner, so he won that last year and is now fighting for the big prize against Parky, which is the FGL Championship. He's also our resident referee for the quiz, which reminds me I've not done questions for that in about 4 months. I don't want to be sitting there December 1st going through fucking months of shit to find that, so I need to pull my finger out my arse there and get that. But we're here to talk about some bits of video game news and industry stuff, and then we'll close out with some impressions of a video game that you can play today. I said I had some news on Football Manager 2024. We mentioned it earlier. Mm-hmm. Here's the headline, or here's the crux of it. Football Manager 2024 mobile, which I know you're not a fan of, but
it's all right.
We've got a mobile. Yeah, I think it's all right. It's good. Will be exclusive to Netflix subscribers. The game will launch on Netflix Games on November the 6th. So the next mobile installment of the football franchise will only be accessible via a Netflix subscription, unlike FM 2023, which was part of Apple Arcade. I didn't know that. Hadn't been tracking it. Existing players with an existing Netflix membership can access and install the game through the Netflix mobile app from launch. The FM24 app will still be available on App Store and Google Play, but only accessible with a Netflix account and login. So you can still download it outside of that Netflix ecosystem, but to sign into the game and play it, you need to be having a Netflix subscription. Now, we know Netflix have been toying and plodding and poking at the game industry. They've got their own mobile app. You can play some games through their various apps on TVs even. And they've even bought the studio that I think did Oxenfree most recently. I'll get the name of that studio just in a moment. But what do you make of this? I mean, I don't know how popular Football Manager is on mobile. I imagine the PC and the laptop Mac usage is much higher. But as we know, mobile is a big industry, and Netflix clearly looking to get in on the act and locking down some access to games. You need to have a Netflix account to play this game, which seems like I don't know. That's a bit of an odd one.
I didn't know this. I hadn't seen it. So it's interesting to me that that's the case. Now, just doing a quick bit of research, FM 2023 mobile in the Google Play Store is currently number 3 in the top paid games chart. behind Minecraft and, interestingly, Motorsport Manager 4.
How's that getting above Footy Manager?
Well, Football Manager's scored a 4.6 out of 5. Minecraft 4.5 out of 5. Motorsport Manager 4 3.4 out of 5. So people are obviously chucking some money at it. It's $6.99 as well. That is mad.
Good game.
So I guess broadly speaking, you know, it does well. It's a popular mobile game. It's $9.99. Like it's quite dear, and I don't tend to buy it.
Night School Studio they bought, which was the Oxenfree developers. They've bought other stuff as well. They've been really not well. They haven't bought fucking, you know, Take-Two or even or tried to buy Activision, but they're still clearly trying to diversify their portfolio. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, I've got a Netflix account, so
which tier are you on?
I don't pay for it.
I'm getting swindled with that $15.99 one because there's other people using it. And secretly, I mean, the people that are using it don't listen to this, but secretly I'm hoping that they crack down that password sharing and block them out so I can go to a lower tier. Because I don't need 4 screens. I don't need to be paying for that. But now I've sort of done it and they use it. I feel bad saying, well, that's going. So I'm hoping Netflix just pull the rug out from under everyone. I'll say,
sorry about that.
You can have it anyway.
I'm not tight, but...
No, exactly.
So I use Jodie's one. I use her login. So I don't actually know, but I mean, I'd have it anyway. Like I've got Prime, and I use Amazon Prime Video for that. So I guess from my perspective, it saves me a tenner. So, but I don't like the idea because you can pay £10 once and get the game forever.
Yeah,
and then that's that. Whereas this, if for whatever reason you stop your Netflix subscription, you lose access to it.
Sounds like Game Pass to me a little bit. What?
A little bit, and you know, look, I'm loath to criticise games, not specifically Football Manager, but I've said for ages that everything seems to be moving towards this more subscription-based effort, if you like. But I just prefer. I wouldn't mind if they went. You got to have a Netflix account, but if you buy it like you buy a movie through it, you can always watch that through our platform. I'd be like, fine. I don't know why you'd do that, but it feels like the right sort of game to play through Netflix. Arguably, like you know, you don't really need input lag, and you can stream it. You can do whatever.
Yeah.
But they're not even doing that. By the sounds of it, you actually install it through the app. It just kind of is a gateway to installing it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's obviously just a cash deal, isn't it? Basically, to get it on that platform.
Netflix have gone to Sega, who I think are publishing this. I don't know if they've published the mobile version actually, but they do the PC and gone, here's some money. They went,
it is Sega,
yeah, you can have that. That's fine. They went, but no, they've got to have a Netflix account. They went, it's fine. Don't care. Because we're going to chuck it on Game Pass anyway. I think the key, well, we assume they will. They did last year. I think the key point there is that where Game Pass definitely gets it right is that if you don't want to be part of Game Pass, you're not locked out of accessing the games.
No.
You just buy them a la carte, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want options. You want the option to do it or not do it. This is more down the path where I don't like it, where it's you either subscribe to Netflix or you don't be accessing it. And there's no way just to buy it outright. Even if it was 25 quid, you know, if you only ever wanted to subscribe to Netflix and you played it for 6 months, you're probably better off just buying it for that higher price, depending on what tier you got it for. But I don't like the idea of things being gated away where there is no option just to buy it. And I know the word ownership is a bit of a strange one around games because, you've only got the rights to play the license. You don't own anything. And I'm like, okay, well, fine. If you want to be pedantic about it, that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't get a chance to own it. You have to continually pay for access to it. I don't like the idea of that. But then you'd have the Salmons of Society saying, well, that's how World of Warcraft works. I don't pay that subscription. I don't pay it. I don't play it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
not unheard of.
The model's the model. I mean, I think saying like Warcraft has always been that way. Whereas this certainly has never been this way. It's only recently, obviously, the past couple of years they've put it on Game Pass. But you could still buy it. I hope that in the future you could still buy it on the App Store and have access to it. I feel like they should complement each other. It's kind of like, if you've got a Netflix account, you can play it through Netflix.
Brucey bonus, yeah.
As a Brucey bonus, in the same way as you say that you've got Game Pass, and if you haven't got Game Pass and you can buy it, like it should be the same thing with the mobile version. But obviously Netflix are going, no, we want the market. We want you to pay us to play it. We don't want you to pay Apple and Google to do it. So yeah, it's just a bit of a shitty paywall. But obviously, if you've got a account already, it's a Brucey bonus. So it depends which side of the fence you're on. There will be obviously a small minority of people who do usually play FM mobile and don't have a Netflix account, and will sit there and go, I ain't paying for that to get it. But who knows? I mean, it says here it's done over 100,000 downloads on the store at £10 a pop. So what's that, 10 grand?
Don't know.
Have I done that wrong?
I don't do the maths. That's why you need Hall just to do it in his head.
1,000 times 10. Would that be
1,000 or 100,000?
100,000 times 10.
1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. So they've got £1 million. They give 20% of whatever it is to Google, so it's 800 grand.
Maybe Netflix will give you 850.
Yeah. Well, this is
as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what they've done.
They've gone fine, and it might be like a monthly payout that they continue to get dependent on the volume of downloads and stuff. So
that may be more appealing as well, because you know that it's going to come in for X amount of time during a period, and you can plan for that money. Whereas that's why these fucks don't want you paying annually. They want you to keep paying every month. That's why Microsoft took away that Game Pass annual. They went, no, we'd rather you just pay every month so we know that that's coming in.
It's
short change for it.
Yeah.
It's like they say, if someone gave you your salary all in one go, I'm like, I don't think I'd do well with that. Necessarily.
Yeah, I don't. I'd get to the end of the year and just be, as Biff says, brassic. Dipping into the old savings, going, been a bit too carefree earlier in the summer. But yeah, I think it's okay. I'm not hugely against it, but at the same time, I think there's going to be a portion of people that are shut out because they want to play it and they don't have or want Netflix.
No. Yeah, I hope this doesn't become the trend, if I'm honest, because removing the options of just buying stuff is the slippery slope to full-time rental of games, rather than just being able to pick up and play them when you want. You have to constantly keep paying just to access stuff. And I don't like the idea of that. We're ways away from that being an issue, but these little chinks in the armour that start appearing, I'm like,
I don't like the volume of participants, and I mean that in a way that, like, previously it used to have Sky and Netflix for a period of time, right? And then it was Amazon Prime come along, and then like all the various different streaming avenues started cropping up, and now you got Paramount Plus, you got Apple Plus, and then all of a sudden, I went onto Amazon Prime the other day, and there's about 30 others, like there's Warner Brothers doing theirs, Disney have come along, and everyone starts going, well, you have to start then subscribing to everyone individually, and that's the bit where I'm concerned where it'll go, rather than it being a PlayStation subscription, an Xbox subscription, a Steam account, a Nintendo account, and you've got everything all in sort of 4 places, that you'll all of a sudden have to start having an Activision Bethesda. Do you know what I mean? Like an Activision account, a Bethesda account, a this account, a that account, a bloody Square Enix account. And all of a sudden you've got to directly subscribe to each of these to be able to bloody play the games. And I think that's the nightmare scenario that I want to avoid, really.
Yeah, the option to buy, just pick and choose, has to remain in the gaming space, because because then you're only ever going to be, you're just going to be like, well, I get stuck with what I'm given. I've got no choice in what I'm buying or playing, and I've got to subscribe here, I've got to unsubscribe there. There's always, and like I say, with the longer games, I will feel under pressure to complete things quicker to get the value out of the subscription. Because
agreed.
It's like, well, if I just bought it, I could just go, well, I've just taken the hit there, and I'll just do it when I want to. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting as well, going back to the TV side of things. We had Sky originally, like that was always seen as like expensive. Now, I think if you added all the different subscription models there without Sky, you'd be paying more than what a standard Sky package would be.
Yeah.
If you want the sport, you've got to pay anyway. It's really got more expensive rather than less expensive. You want access to everything.
It's so expensive, yeah. I mean, look, you've got more choice than ever, right? And I think
there's a lot of content,
like,
and no one really needs all that content. Let's be honest.
No, and I'm pretty picky. I mean, I've got Disney for kids. Like, I think that's a good thing to have. But really, like when I actually watch things, I do limit it to Netflix and Amazon Prime, because I'm like, I've got to draw the line somewhere.
Amazon Prime's an interesting one because I'll watch stuff on there, but very rarely. It's more so for the delivery. I
mean, I have to admit, I would have Amazon Prime irrespective of whether they're not, regardless. Like, because
and
it
the
pays
Twitch
itself
subs.
off. Well, yeah, I mean, it just pays its. I mean, there's a value package and a value proposition. Like, and we talk about Game Pass and all the things you get through there. Like, Amazon Prime is similar, I think, in that it is. If you use it regularly enough, obviously, like anything, you have to use it. But most people throughout their day would. I mean, I ordered a new desk the other day, and you just go, well, how much would it have cost me to have it delivered?
Yeah,
like it could have cost me £10 to have it delivered if I bought it anywhere else, and it's just like, if I'd ordered one thing a month, it pays itself off basically. So, and they do have some good stuff on there, but I try to, and I would be similarly disciplined with any gaming subscriptions. Like, I don't do I'll finish Spider-Man Miles Morales, and then I'll just whack my subscription back to the basic one that I have to have, and stuff like that. Like, I'm disciplined around it, but it just concerns me because I saw that there's is it Square Enix, or it's another one that's trying to do some sort of, who is it who does Assassin's Creed?
Ubisoft.
So they're doing a thing, aren't they, where they're trying to get all of their games together and
they've got Ubisoft
into kind of a model
Plus, and it's the thing, they've got Ubisoft Plus, which is like a version of, you've got EA Access, which is another spin on it. I mean, there is a lot going on, but I think you're right. The word there is discipline. People just need to realise that you cannot play it all, so just pay for what you need in the moment. And if that means buying it, means buying it. If it means subscribing for a month, it means subscribing for a month, and then you'll keep more money in your back pocket. Because it's easy just to sign up for these things and leave them to run.
Yeah, but I just my overriding point is I just don't like that.
No,
I didn't. I mean, when EA did theirs, I was like, that's kind of okay. I think it was about $3.99 a month. Yeah, and the library was big.
It's inoffensive. And I was like,
it was inoffensive, but then once everyone starts cottoning on and ring fencing their games into these subscription-based access models, because at the minute you can still buy a FIFA, you can still buy the games that you want to as well. It was more kind of a legacy-based application.
EA Play was like the first, from my memory, the first one that kind of did this, and it was never day and date, but it was like, here's our legacy content, and like you said, it was really cheap, like £30 a year you could get it for. Yeah. It went on to Xbox One August 2014, so a few years before Game Pass was even a thing. I remember at the time looking at it thinking, that's actually pretty cool and pretty good, because the price was so low. Yeah, and I thought,
it was, as you say, it was so inoffensive, and it was. Sorry,
no, go on.
I was just going to say, and it was pretty much like you could subscribe at any point and cancel at any point, and they wouldn't say, well, you subscribe, so you've got to pay for a whole month. Like, you could pretty much do what you wanted to with it, and it was really flexible. And they had a good library of games on there, and it wasn't a case of anything was locked behind it. It was just a case of, hey, you want to play some of the older stuff that you might have missed, like, had all the Battlefields on there, and things like Army of Two, and all these various different things were on there, and it's kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. But as you say, as it's evolved since then, it feels like it could become a potential way of locking games behind a paywall. You have to subscribe to, and even though, as you say, if you subscribe to it for a month and paid a tenner, and there was a day and date game there, you would be quids in. But then you're always sitting there thinking, if I get this done, I can cancel it and get some money back. Or, as you say, it puts you under that pressure to get it done. And you'd start thinking, if there's like two games that you wanted to play, you'd go, well, I want to play those two in the same month now. Wow. From that, because it makes sense economically to do, right?
It starts to dictate roadmap, which I don't like.
Yes.
I like to have my own roadmap. And also, like, I've got in the habit of replaying some of my... they are. I wouldn't replay them if I didn't like them, but some games... and I would feel aggrieved having to resubscribe to play something that I'd already played. Do you know what I mean? Whereas where I've bought it, it's always there in my account. I'll just download it again and it's ready to go. Spider-Man being a prime example. This is now playthrough number 3, so it's it would have been annoying if I had to subscribe to something to go back to that. But this is economically a waste of time. But there we go. Football Manager 2024 sparking off more subscription controversy. I don't know if this will cause any noise because it seems like it's such a niche of the Football Manager franchise that not many people.
Just for context, if they locked behind either the Xbox version or the main version that I'm excited to play on PC this year, if they locked that behind a Netflix account, I would be pissed.
Yeah,
because out of principle, it would annoy me that that's locked away in that way. Like the full-blooded version, I don't want that. I just want to be clear on that. Like, I'd rather pay my £30-40, whatever it might be, up front and have it because I like it in my library. I don't want them to do it in any other way.
No, and we're not there yet. This is just a little bit of a peek through the window and going, if some people are doing it, others are thinking about it. This is not a...
They're testing the waters, though.
Exactly, absolutely. And everyone's watching. They'll all be looking at trying to get whatever data they can, going, maybe we can drive people down there. So don't be... I'm not saying it's going to happen, but they're all watching, seeing how this pans out and thinking, how do we tweak? How do we get people to do what we want them to do? I don't know what their aim is, but I would guess they want more people paying monthly than just buying stuff a la carte because you're paying for something that is not. There's nothing tangible there. It doesn't even matter on the product, does it? Because the whole point is there's so much there that you won't ever want to cancel, i.e. the Netflix effect. You think, well, it's silly not to not have it, but if you're just buying a game, you see it comes out and gets a 78, you're like, I can wait for that. They don't get their money. And they're like, well, I don't know. We'll see. Scary, or is it? This is scary. Square Enix stock has fallen 30% from its peak this year, wiping almost $2 billion off the company's market value. The Japanese publisher's share price reached its highest point this year in the days running up to Final Fantasy XVI's release in June, but closed this past Wednesday at its lowest level since May 2022. So not actually that... Well, it's not great news, but clearly it was spiking perhaps artificially for one game and then hasn't stayed on that. And it's as low as May 2022, which... If they said May 2015, I'd be like, Christ, that's an all-time low. But something that was a year and change ago, I'm not too concerned about. Although you've got a bit more of an economic mind when it comes to this stuff anyway. This feels like a bit of a culmination of some terrible products they've released. Like, I think about Marvel's Avengers over the year. That was just an absolute... Should have been a slam dunk and just toilet. This year, although we've had Final Fantasy 16, which has performed very well critically, there was that rumbling that it didn't meet the high end of their expectations. Now, why you would say that at an earnings call and spook off, in which is you know how it works. It's things like that, and they're like, well, it spooks people away, and then the share price took an immediate punishment from that. But also Forspoken, I forgot, came out this year, and that absolutely bombed critically and commercially, an absolute shitter. So Final Fantasy 16 was left with a lot of heavy lifting on its shoulders and probably couldn't do it on its own.
Just to add as well, the market will generally respond like worse to it won't, like, if something was equally good and equally bad, it would drop 15% with bad news and increase by 2, 3, 4, 5% with good news. Like, I don't know the way to properly articulate that, but essentially it will be more dramatic towards the bad news than it will be. It won't equate. News. It won't.
Everything being equal, you'll drop off more than you'll raise if the. Interesting.
Yeah. So the idea is that you don't want dramatically bad news or bad press in any way, because it would negatively affect the price, I think, more than a bit of positive news would increase it in terms of a bounce.
Yeah, and they can't, and as far as, and you correct me again if I'm wrong, but they said it didn't meet the high end of their expectations. I don't know if they had to say that, but they couldn't lie about the performance of it, and then perhaps they could have worded it differently. But when you're talking at an earnings meeting, you can't be sitting there saying it smashed all forecasts. I think there's probably a better way to word that so it didn't sound like it had failed to meet expectations. But it's stuff like that I've seen spooks off people, and they go, "Well, get me out of
Largely, they'll have forecasts for the year that they'll share with the shareholders and say this is what we want to do. So I don't think there's any way of hiding it. Ultimately, when people are looking at buying and selling and establishing the value of the shares, it's things like capital balance sheet, like how much profit they've got, like the price to earnings ratio. Like there's various different things they'll do to value that share. So it doesn't just come down to press essentially or product performance. It's ultimately the underlying balance sheet as well will play a part in that. So it could be a culmination of the two in terms of how their share price has performed over the past sort of 12 to 18 months. But as you say, they could have had a really good game last year that gave them this huge bounce in terms of cash flow and balance sheet and press that really bumped up their price because everyone wanted a bit of that. And then obviously everyone starts dumping it because they've had a shit year or for whatever reason. And, it doesn't go so well. That is the nature of the stock market.
Well, Square Enix themselves are just known for almost every game that comes out, they say it failed to meet expectations. So whoever's in that forecasting department needs to get the sack. I remember it happened.
It's the opposite of Phil, because whatever comes out, Phil goes, well,
it's blown
best selling game ever.
Well, we manage expectations. Number one rule of these jobs.
Yeah.
They've come out and said it about almost every single game that they've released, like big AAA games, and it's a bit of an odd one because we were not privy to what the expectations are, nor are we privy to the budgets. But when they publicly say things like, well, I say publicly, they're in earnings calls, which I guess become public knowledge because people kind of transcribe them and whatnot. But they must say that knowing that it's going to affect their stock price and their share market, and
they think it makes them look good in terms of they think they're releasing these great products and they want to, like, rather than going, well, they did better than we thought, or what, you chucking out toot then, are you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a weird way to phrase it. I guess there's a way of saying, oh, we thought it would resonate better because of the quality of the product or whatever it might be, but I still think just, you don't want to admit that something hasn't done as well as you thought it would. Like,
but
you wouldn't go into your year-end review, would you, and go, well, I didn't do as well as I thought I would. Well, what do you mean by that? Feet up or what?
Wow. Trouble is, I don't think they can cook the books and fib. It's all written down somewhere. It's all been presented, isn't it? As we're going to get this, that, and the other. But I don't know. Anyway, the question around this was, does this make them ripe for an acquisition? Square Enix have got a lot of IP sitting under there, a lot of development. They're Japanese focused, and obviously Phil's off the market at the moment because he's still dealing with ABK.
Got too much on his plate.
Oh, well, really, a few months ago we thought that was in the bag. Yeah. And it just seems to have just hit a bit of a roadblock. But what do you think? I mean, the rumour has always been that Sony would be a good partner to go in for Square Enix. They've got the Final Fantasy relationship there. They've got that some level of exclusivity for 16. They've had 7 remake on console exclusivity and then also timed on PC. But Square Enix themselves have been strange in the way they approach things. They've released things. Octopath Traveler 2, for example, not on Xbox platforms. Octopath Traveler 1 was. Octopath Traveler 1 not on PlayStation platforms. Octopath Traveler 2 on PlayStation. It's like, what's going on?
Chasing the money.
Well,
that's what that boils down to.
Yeah.
But I mean, never say never. Whether whoever buys something generally buys it because they think it's undervalued, or whether they think they can add more value to it, or that over time it will add more value to their company. Do Sony need something like this when they're already getting the exclusives anyway?
Do
they really need to acquire it when they've got Square Enix in their pocket anyway? Essentially,
the only reason you'd want to acquire it is if you thought that someone else might come in and nab it and then make it exclusive. And there has been some potential building bridges from Xbox and Square Enix in the last month or so. I remember Phil popped out on some sort of fucking showcase and was like, "Yeah, we're working on building a stronger partnership and whatnot." So Jim was probably sitting at home with his whiskey, going,
I always wonder as well how much actual capital, if you like, Sony have in the bank. I mean, Jim always pleads poverty, but they certainly ain't poor. It's just whether, as you say, they're getting paid essentially, or they're getting. No, that's wrong. They're not getting paid. They're paying Square Enix to have the exclusives on PlayStation primarily anyway. So you think, would they really? Would they look at it and go, well, we can stop paying them, we can just have it all exclusive, and we can have them in house, and we can make it better, whatever they want to do. But ultimately, they'd probably let them run independently anyway.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't think so. Phil ain't going to do anything there, is he? It seems unlikely. They've got their plate full, and they've just acquired. Well, they should be acquiring them for $60 billion. It's like
he said he's not done yet, though. He said he ain't done.
Well, we fucking should be for a bit. Get some good games out.
Starfield. 87.
Yep.
We'll see. Square Enix are a strange one. They always will be, in my eyes. And who knows what's next? They seem to do really well and then just make some catastrophic errors. But there we go. Right. Xbox Game Pass Core has been confirmed with its 36 games.
Right.
I think by the time people listen to this, it would have transferred over. So if you're an Xbox Gold member, this is basically replacing that. You used to get your 2 monthly shitters. Now you get 36 games, I think indefinitely. I imagine some of these will cycle off because unless they just indefinitely keep renewing the licenses to have them on there. But here's the rundown. Among Us, Astroneer, Celeste, Dead Cells, Descenders, Dishonored 2, not Dishonored 1. Doom Eternal, Standard Edition, so no DLC. Elder Scrolls Online, Fable Anniversary, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, no one wants that. Firewatch, Forza Horizon 4, Standard Edition. So we're not getting Forza Horizon 5. Interesting. Gang Beast, Gears 5, Game of the Year Edition. Golf with Your Friends, Grounded, Halo 5, Guardians, Halo Wars, no Halo Infinite. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, Human Fall Flat, Inside, Limbo, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Overcooked 2, Payday 2, Crime Wave Edition, Power Wash Simulator, your favourite, Psychonauts 2, Slay the Spy, Spiritfarer Farewell Edition, Stardew Valley, State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition, Superliminal, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, Unpacking, and Vampire Survivors, which costs all of £5. So be careful around the value of that one. Might as well just buy it because you're going to spend 100 hours in it. Is this list of 36, and they said they're going to add to it over the years, and like I said, there probably will be subtractions 12, 18, maybe 2 years out, but I imagine it's going to be around the 36 to 40 mark for the next 3 to 5 years. Is this better than the painfully poor offerings that we'd had added to Gold? You get this static list of 36, or was the wonder of having the 2 random games coming through part of the charm of Gold? Or to be honest, this is the real answer. People have only got that Gold for that online play, so they didn't really care about that. I don't think people were subscribing for the games. If they were getting swindled. But does this make an offering now where it's worth just having it for the games? I guess is the question. Wow.
No. Now, without going into some steep lore, I think I did used to look forward to the monthly games, not just on Xbox, but on PlayStation as well. Don't forget, Rocket League was basically introduced via the free games piece on PlayStation, right? So it has some genesis, I think, in introducing some lesser known games, I would say indie, however you want to put it, to the community, and it's a nice little Brucey bonus. That was back when it was £30 a year, right? And you used to get a little Brucey bonus. You used to pay for it online, and it was all. I was okay with that, and how it kind of went. Now, with the advent, as we discussed earlier, of some of the streaming and the games locked behind paywalls and all this various kind of new way of accessing games, like the quality of the Xbox games and arguably the PlayStation ones too have gone downhill. It's just kind of been like what have we got left over that ain't getting put on one of our streaming services that we can just give away? Basically, I would say give away for nothing, but it's not for nothing. No. Can we give to the lowest tier subscribers? And that's how it's felt for a long time. There hasn't been an Xbox.
Out of the bins, Alan said.
It is. Yeah, it's like, what bargain bin shit have we got that we can put on there? And some of them as well, they just started regurgitating some old Xbox 360 games or PS4 games for the PS5. Like, it was pretty piss poor, to be honest. And I think it's, there's nothing on there that I'd be thinking, I will subscribe to play that. Like, Game Pass is different, like the actual Game Pass.
No, this is Game Pass now. This is Game Pass Core.
It ain't Game Pass, because it's just a load of shit to suffer the blow of taking
Forza Horizon 4.
Money away.
That's a highly regarded game. Standard edition, so no DLC.
It's just, it softens the blow. There is an argument that it's better than getting 2 bits of toot every month, right? But
that 2 bits of toot was not a deliberate ploy, but that's... It didn't need to be 2 bits of toot, because it wasn't always 2 bits of toot. It became 2 bits of toot because they decided to neglect it. So they basically made the offering undesirable and said, well, it's crap, isn't it? We know it's crap, but that was a decision they made.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. There is a clear desire to not do this sort of free monthly game thing.
It must be hassle, mustn't it?
Yeah,
imagine who's got to sit there and scramble and get those sorted every month. That is a thankless job, and everyone goes, oh, that's shit. And you've got a team there working in relationships and partners.
To try and
negotiate
get a roadmap.
Yeah, of course.
I agree. But I just think, I broadly think that in this day and age of where we're at, like, they obviously did this agreement anyway, where if you've got a free-to-play game, they won't charge you for online play. You don't have to have a live subscription to do it, which was the right decision. But I just think, broadly speaking now, if I buy Call of Duty, the next Call of Duty, why do I need to pay for that online piece to be playable? Like, I just think, broadly speaking, there shouldn't be this paywalled access to online play. Nope. And there's probably a load of people that would talk to me about having to provide infrastructure and maintain that and repair it. Like, I do understand. Like, but I don't think that cost should be borne by me. I think the cost should be borne by the developers and the publishers that are producing games for online play. I don't think the player should have to... I don't pay it for the maintenance of the railways, right? That ain't my job to do that. I pay to use the railway, and the railways have to maintain their railway. Yeah. So,
well, do they?
I think I've bought the console. Well, yeah, I know. But I'm saying I've bought the console, I've paid you the money, and now I have to pay you to maintain an online service as well. Like, what are we doing?
You'll be joining the PC crowd soon. You won't have to deal with this anymore, potentially.
Yes. Well, yeah.
And it's all crossplay.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And, it's I'm playing the long game with this, right? Because I've been trying to see how it goes and I don't like the way, I think we spoke about this last week, with how it feels like it's a bit, the consoles used to be the most economical way, I think, of playing games, like, over the long term. And there's no doubt about it that a PC is expensive and that it is a hefty initial outlay.
It's an eye water initially.
It is, but there are some advantages, and I think PC gaming is becoming by far more accessible, and it's cross-play and everything like that. So I'm trying to play the long game with it. I just really don't like this console cash grab that's going on. And, I just think there should be a library of games. I was quite happy with how it was. I think they should have got rid of Game Pass Core or Xbox Live or whatever it is. I mean, it's easy to chuck that money away, and easy for me to say chuck that money away. They're never going to do it. But in my ideal world, that should be gone, and they should enhance the offering for Game Pass. And that should be if they want to push people towards that subscription-based model, then make it worthwhile for me to have Game Pass Ultimate, and for more people to go on that higher tier, rather than moving everyone from Xbox Live Gold to Game Pass Core, which is just not. It's not Game Pass, because you've got static games that are just turt. It's just a rebrand, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I don't like it. I'm not supportive of it, and I can't sit here and say it's better value because you've got 36 took games instead of 2 a month.
That's fair game. Here's the current. There's 4 tiers of Game Pass essentially, and this includes the PC one, which I'll get to. So you've got Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, $12.99 a month, so 13 UK pounds per month. Yeah. That gives you access to PC library and console library of Game Pass, member deals, discounts and perks. So sometimes you get like a 3-month Apple Plus subscription. I've seen all that put in there. Online console multiplayer. So that's the Xbox Gold bit rolled into it. And then EA Play membership as well, which I think is a good boon. You've got PC Game Pass, so this is very much the same, other than you don't get you don't need the console multiplayer because you're only on PC. But you get all the same sort of perks. You don't get the Apple Plus stuff, but you get EA Play as well. That's $7.99 a month, £8 UK a month. Interestingly, and this is just going from left to right on their tier page from their Xbox site. It then goes to Xbox Game Pass Core, which is $6.99 a month, so £7 UK. And you get your online console multiplayer. It says a catalogue of over 25 high quality games on console, so they've over delivered there. Or maybe that's a sign of where it's going to bottom out. Once those
well, you noticed high quality. So they've obviously. So what they've done is they've gone. Well, you've got 25 high quality games and 11 bits of shit.
It's potentially what they're saying there. And you get member deals and discounts, which is whatever. Then you've got Xbox Game Pass for console, which includes hundreds of high quality games on console, new games on day one, member deals and discounts. That's $8.99 a month, £9 UK a month. Interesting thing about this Game Pass for console, it doesn't have the console multiplayer. So if you get that, you can play online. You need to basically... I mean, if you're going to get that, you may as well get Ultimate, because that's the cheapest way to get the...
This is why it's weird, because I've noticed this when I was... probably last year at some point when I was reevaluating what I'm doing with Game Pass. And I was like, I don't understand why there's not a Game Pass Plus Live. It seemed odd.
If you had Game Pass for console, you had to have Gold as a separate subscription, didn't you?
Yeah. So you still had to buy Xbox Live Gold either annually or whatever it was, which is why I went to Ultimate. Because I was like, this is just bizarre, and I was like, I just don't want the hassle.
He's upsold you, isn't he? He knows what he's doing.
But this is the thing. What they've done, right, is that I when they were doing this rationalisation, I thought, right, okay, they'll do Core, which will be the shit games and online. They'll do Game Pass for console, which will be the library and online, and then they'll do Ultimate, which is the whole thing. But they haven't done that, and it's a really weird thing for me that they've not done this like incremental. You get more for what you pay for, because you actually pay more for Game Pass for console than you do.
One of these fucking tiers needs to go. Didn't it? Yeah. That's the fact of it. One of these needs to go.
Game Pass for console and Game Pass for PC. Like they need, if they want to do it, Game Pass Core, that's fine. You get your shit games, you get your online. Then you have Game Pass, which is online on the ongoing day and date games in the library. Then you have Game Pass Ultimate, which includes PC and console and all the perks for the top tier.
Then you got the PC players going, I don't want to pay £13 a month. I want to pay £8 a month for PC only. We're the growth market.
Well, then either that, or you don't distinguish between PC console. Like you just have Game Pass,
and it works on either or.
I mean, I'd have Game Pass Ultimate anyway, because there's no point in me having a Game Pass for console and a Game Pass for PC. Like, so if you're on both, it makes sense. But yeah, it's just weird. I still feel like there's another rationalisation coming. I feel like this is part one. They can't leave it like this. You can't. It's just a ridiculous model, isn't it?
It used to be odd.
You've got to have 2 subscriptions, or you do Ultimate.
But they want you to do Ultimate.
Yeah,
they
do.
They don't. Yeah. I mean, fair enough. If you want to get 2 subscriptions, you'll pay more. So, but why you would do that, I don't know. Phil ain't going to complain, but clearly they want people to be driven towards either, if you're PC only, I don't think they want to fuck with the PC audience because they know there's a good market to be had there. They've even identified that as a growth market. So you let them have that for a relatively much cheaper, £8 if they just want to have just PC only. And then the console people, you say, look, if you really want to just have one or the other, you can, but really you should be having this Ultimate.
So if you don't have Ultimate and you're using Core and you subscribe to Game Pass, you're paying £15 a month. Is that?
Was
it more than that? I forgot the prices.
It'll be £9 and £7. So yeah, 16. So yeah, more than Game Pass, which is 13 UK pounds.
I mean, you got to say it's either deliberate or a fucking huge cock up.
It's deliberate, almost certainly. That's how it's always the upsell, isn't it? You pay. You go to the top whack and you get you feel like you're getting a discount, but it's only because they've made the lower tiers such an abomination that that's the case. But I don't know. I'm not going to.
I don't like it. Well, I don't. I've always resented that Xbox Live Gold. They used to have silver, obviously, as well. But
what was that? Was that just an account, a free account, like an Xbox Live account where you could have your profile? I don't think you paid for that. I feel like silver was just. It's like it sort of made out like it was a. I don't know, but
you basically lapsed to silver when your gold subscription ran out, didn't you? But I always resented that. But at least it was a relatively inexpensive yearly thing that you could usually find cheaper on a CD keys or something like that, and it was just done.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like being locked into how it is, I fucking resent it. I really do. It's because I always operate on the basis that if I can pay something up front and get a discount, I will.
Yeah.
But I don't even have a choice nowadays. I just get shafted.
They want that monthly money. They don't want people stacking years like I've been doing for the last decade almost.
It's the right decision. Well,
it's slowly bit in a road, and even Jim's cottoned onto it and upped the price of the yearly stuff. So it's still discounted, but it's not as cheap as it used to be. That's where his price rise has got people's backs up. But that's Xbox Game Pass Core. Now, obviously, once this launches, we're going to get at some point public numbers on what the Game Pass subscribers are. I do hope they say, here's how many Game Pass Core members there are, and here's how many other members there are. I hope they granularly break it down. They probably won't. But if they say we've got 60 million Game Pass members, that to me doesn't paint the picture
that the books.
It is, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't. I want to know how this thing's like how the new Game Pass, like the true Game Pass subscription, is working, and we may lose sight of that now because you'll have these core numbers rolled in. It's like, well, we've gone up 5 million. It's like, well, how many million of those were Ultimate or PC or console versus core? Because core is not. It's not the same philosophy, is it? It's just a rebrand of an old service, and the philosophy going forward, as we know with Game Pass itself, is day one access to first party and hundreds of games on a huge library, not a static-ish library of only 25 high-quality games, not 36. That's their own words. That's not mine.
Question. Yes. Conscious we've probably run out of time. Yeah. But would you prefer, if they had Game Pass Core that gave you the legacy library and online, and then you had sort of Game Pass whatever that gave you that plus day-and-date games? So you got to play day one. I mean, I know that Phil does day one, and then you can pay for early access.
Fucking day five, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you and then you had a second tier, which was like all the legacy catalog plus day one. Then you had Ultimate, which is all the perks and everything in together. Would you see that more as a progression through, or would you still resent the day one being locked behind a paywall? Do you think? Because I think that would fit better.
My whole stickler for the day one thing is just they just lie and say it's day one. That's what annoys me. If they just come out and said day 5 or just reworded it in some other way, I'll be fine with it. I'd hate the fact these companies sit there and just bullshit. And they just play with words so it fits a marketing ploy. Because what happens is all the fucking brain deads then start to parrot that. Day one. It ain't. I'm sorry, it's not day one. If he just said you'll get it a week after early access, or just reworded it slightly, I don't know. I wouldn't care. I probably wouldn't even pay for the day one stuff because
neither would I. That was where I was going with it.
I could probably wait 5 days, but the thing that annoys me about the Game Pass, particularly the day one thing, is that early on in Game Pass, the perk of having Game Pass meant you got the early access phase as well. Gears 5 was a game where they first did that, and I thought, that's the boon. Whereas now there's a boon to it. You get it on your subscription service, and economically it's probably cheaper, but you're no longer that first class citizen that you were before. That's say for the premium upgraders, which is another £35 if you've got the subscription, or if you've bought the £100 edition outright. So if they just stop lying, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But it's the nonsense.
This is where I'm at with it. This is what I mean. There's a cash grab at the moment. I feel like going on with console players. I think that I think they've cottoned on to the fact that there's a great deal going on over here, and there has been for a number of years, like in terms of value proposition, and they're now bleeding that market for everything they can, and I resent being part of that. I really don't like it, and I'm not comfortable with it because game prices are going up, console prices are going up. They release a fucking pro version after 2 years, and do you know what I mean? You're forever spending and having to chuck money at it anyway. Whereas beforehand, you could buy a console really, and you could buy a game for £40 and be done with it. It's just not that way anymore. They're just absolutely just fleecing the console market, and I just don't like it, so I'm trying to get out of it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that goes because it's the PC does offer benefits. The games generally are cheaper to buy. Generally, not always, but a lot of them are. Even if it's by a £5 or a £10, and with CD keys and key sellers, like legitimate ones, you can find it even cheaper, and you don't have to pay for online. So if you're into a la carte gaming and you're not fussed about having a library of 1 million games, you can get away with paying for less. It's just that upfront cost initially, and then obviously sometimes the hassles of optimization.
There's no perfect solution, but I've been tracking this kind of evolution. I mean, it was probably started at Fortnite, and the gaming has evolved quite rapidly since then. I think pre-Fortnite there was still this great offering, but for some reason post-Fortnite, I would say there's been this huge console cash grab that's been going on, and I'm increasingly more uncomfortable with what's going on.
Well, we'll definitely track it. I mean, your PC should be in with us in a 5 to 10 days, hopefully. And also, I won't jump on you immediately to get faults, but after a few months, it'll be interesting to see how you're finding that and whether it's changed the way you purchase or consume your games. But you will have PC Game Pass rolled into your Ultimate, so you can still access that library.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably going to be a slow transition. So games that I'm already playing, or that I will still use my consoles. Like I'm not, I've already locked into it. I'm paying for them. I've bought the games. Like there's still advantages to be had there, but I don't want to be got by the balls. And currently, I'm at their behest because they've got me by the balls, and that's just what I want to remove. Is
get your hands off his bollocks, Phil and Jim. That's what we want.
Yes, that's where we're at.
No hands on bollocks. That's assault.
Let that be a motto.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're going to transition out to some game impressions. This is the last of the old tour. And what I mean by old tour is stuff that was recorded over 6 months ago. It's Tekken 7. So Tekken 8's not out yet. It's a bit of an old one, but Adkins likes to revisit his fighting games. And then we'll be back on to, well, not newer games necessarily, because that's not the motto, but stuff that's been recorded within like a reasonable time period. I won't have a top knot anymore, for example, in the video version. So that's how far back it goes.
I forgot about that. Some of those I might still have hair in.
Yes, it's possible. So this is the last one, and going forward there'll be more recent stuff, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're running out of the backlog though, so I need to pull my finger out and get some stuff in the bank, which I will. But it's Tekken 7 with Adkins, and we'll see you on the other side. Here we are then, back with some game impressions to see out this show of Idle Game Chat. Once again joined by Mr. Adkins, not Adcock.
Hold on.
Look out.
Gotta get me little compadre.
He's going to get the compadre. For those at home, he's grabbing a little pop funk, and it's the fella with the red eye and black eye. I'm not versed in who that is in Tekken, but this is a Tekken 7 impression. Who's that? It looks like Ryu, but with one red eye.
It is the main man himself.
Yep.
Kazuya.
Kazuya.
I forget. What's his name?
I reckon when people switched this on, they thought, cool, they've had access to Tekken 8. It's like, no, you read it right. Tekken 7, we're going back to 2015 to have a chat about Tekken 7 because Adkins is...
Mishima, that was his name. Mishima.
Kazuya
Mishima.
There we go. Adkins has picked up this again and gone for it for a second time. Never really got an original look at it. So, no game left behind is the mantra. So, Tekken 7, absolutely one of those. Cool. So, this is a 7-year-old game coming up to its 8th anniversary as well. Does it?
That straight off the bat. Well, it got some stick when it first come out.
What'd you play it on?
PS4 originally.
Yeah, this was the PS4 version.
Was the Pro out in 2015?
I think it's... No, I don't think it was. I think it's later that year.
PS4 Pro came out 2016, so I played this on the original PS4. Bugger me.
Wow.
And I reckon this was even under. I've got a feeling I remember Digital Foundry saying this is under 1080p res, and it looks it, and it's never been patched.
They never. That's weird, isn't it?
There's no next gen patch for it. There's no upgrade. It's an absolute fucking mud bath.
What are they playing at? Not giving Tekken the love it deserves, some say.
Exactly. But it did get some very good chat about it because of after. I think was this before or after Street Fighter that was very bare bones when it came out, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was. Street Fighter 4 was a bit of a blow in terms of it came out a bit light on its feet. It would have been Street Fighter 5, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Street Fighter 5. Yeah. They came out almost the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
went head to head.
Oh, head to head, which it looks like they're going to be doing again.
Hold on, that was a year later. Street Fighter.
Was it?
Was it 2016?
Oh yeah, it was. Fuck me, Jesus Christ.
Crap.
Yeah, it's 15, wasn't it? Oh god, we got the years wrong. So, potentially then we probably get Street Fighter 6 next year and Tekken 8 2024. Fuck's sake.
Let's have a little read of the store. It's hard to actually find in the PlayStation store anything, but here's what they've come up with. It's under game and legal info, so they've just bunged it in there.
Bundled the two.
Yeah, they have. Discover the epic conclusion of the Mishima clan and unravel the reasons behind each step of their ceaseless fight. Powered by Unreal Engine 4, Tekken 7 features stunning story-driven cinematic battles and intense duels that can be enjoyed with friends and rivals alike through innovative fight mechanics. Expand your fighter's journey by purchasing the Tekken 7 Season Pass separately and gain access to stunning additional content. So, there we go there.
Yeah.
So, let's... I'm trying to think how to frame this. Now, you've played for this once, tickled through it, platinumed it. Did you partake in any competitive dabblings at that time, or was it, or not?
I may have done. I think I had to get the platinum.
Right, okay.
I didn't. I've never been I say never. I have dabbled in.
Retired now.
Yeah, I'm retired now. I've done my bit.
Yeah,
I've
go
never
on the
been
veterans tour.
Exactly. I've never been
All
on
the
a
old
long
boys.
staying competitive multiplayer.
Might jump on for a couple of weeks and then get your ass whooped and then
exactly.
get off.
I'm more of a coach co-op. I would have played a lot of that, to be fair. But I haven't played much of it online against, just because I seem to get a lot of connection problems.
Kills it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kills it, and especially this type of game, you're getting a lot of sort of Asian players, and they're absolute wizards at it. You see an Asian name come up, a bit like Monster Hunter. You always knew you were going to get someone to clear the monster down if you got an Asian. If you're fighting against one on here, you're like, well, that's that done then.
Yeah, might as well log off. Just going to get
exactly.
Just going to get absolutely smashed.
No. And the thing with this Tekken franchise is, I will go as far as to say, in my opinion, this franchise over the holy trinity of Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter, I would say that Tekken has the best overall characters with their stories and overarching story. It's the only one that sort of has a story that goes through. It's a canon story that has carried on
for 7 entries
from day for 7 entries.
Oh yeah, am I going to catch up?
Exactly, you're gonna have to get back there. But this is the game. You say that this is the game for you because what you have on here is an in-game currency that gives you the full library of every cutscene and every ending to every Tekken game.
Right. I see.
So you can play through this as much as you want, and you can unlock every video, every ending. So you technically can't play any of the game, but you can watch your art out of every story and get everything.
And
that was
up.
brilliant. That was very good. No, you don't see that in the Mortal Kombat or a Street Fighter game.
So I need to... We've blown this a little bit. So apparently, and I didn't even know this was a thing still, 2015 was the worldwide release of Fated Retribution, which was the arcade version.
Right, yes, that's right. They do that a lot, Tekken.
And then the home versions didn't come till 2017.
Oh.
Does that line up roughly with your... I know we've lost 2 years because of COVID.
Yeah, I'll be able to tell you because
them trophies and that platinum.
My brain can't record anything anymore. It is obsolete, this brain. It's died a death.
I mean, that's...
So what we do...
That's fascinating. There's an arcade version coming out.
Yeah. So, correct. I got the platinum the 6th of June, 2017.
Christ, it come out the 2nd of June. So you under a week, 4 days. You fucking smashed that.
Absolute fucking blew it. I think I only played about 13 hours as well. It's one of the best. It might even say on here.
It may well have backdated the tracking.
The tracking could potentially. Where's that gone? Tekken 7. 4 days, 7 hours. I don't give you the thing, but
4 days.
4 days, it says.
You've played it for 4 days. 2, 4, 6. Over 72 hours. Can't be.
No, it took 4 days.
Oh,
from launch.
I thought that was your timer. I was like, fucking hell, he must have gone online.
Yeah, no, I've clocked it about probably about 20, 25 hours.
Right.
I played it for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, we're up to speed now.
Right, we're up to speed. But yeah, I forgot that. So Street Fighter was before then.
Street Fighter came out before and said we've given you 4 characters, off you go. And then...
so that's what I thought. I remember that. I remember that being out, and I was like, right, this is going to be able to compete because that's. Although by that time, a year later, it probably did have a bit of bollards about it.
Yeah. It's interesting nonetheless. So let's fast forward to the present. What's the look, I think I know what the trigger is, but I'm assuming that the Tekken 8 footage that's been out and about doing the rounds and I think we saw it at a Sony State of Play a little while back. That tickled something, and you thought, well, I just need to get back into Tekken and play this game again. Even though you've already got the platinum, so there's no trophies to be had. It's just purely out of the love of the game at this point.
No. Well, the trouble with getting that platinum is in my head. When I get these platinums, I feel that that's 100% I've done the game and I'm never going to play it. So I do tend to, a game like this, I've platinumed it and then I think, that's it, I'm done. So there's very likely chance that I've done that, played it for probably a little bit longer, a couple of weeks maybe, just doing a bit here and there, and then dropped it. So never played it on the PS4 Pro, and obviously never played it on that PS5. But when I see there was the original announcement at Evo, wasn't there? They showed like an update to it. There was it was like balancing things, so it weren't like a huge update.
Yeah,
I think it's essentially the last update. And then they revealed at the end that there was Tekken. Well, they just put
Tekken
next up or something. What's next? Stay tuned. So it was just before we got that proper trailer, and I was like, ooh. When I was like, oh, I must pop that on just to see what that's like now on the PS5. And then, booted it up and was like, cool, no, still rough as boots. Then we got the real Tekken 8 trailer.
Which looked phenomenal.
Yeah, incredible. Still watch that now and I'm like, that looks incredible.
Better than 1080p.
And they're even saying a real next gen. If you look at any comments, they're all like, Tekken 7 was dirty as mud.
Yeah.
This looks like the real next gen Tekken.
I can only assume that was a common criticism of Tekken 7 was that it just looked like not up to scratch, and then maybe they've took that to heart and gone, well, we'll show you now.
Yeah, exactly that.
And they showed us.
But yeah, so that was, and also, I don't know if you know this, but there was also a Netflix exclusive anime that's on Tekken called Tekken Bloodlines, which is essentially an extension of this story of the campaign.
Oh. So the anime starts 7 entries in, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Fuck! There's the opportunity for them to catch me up, and they fucking just chuck that out. Is that old, or is that a new?
Oh, actually, no, it don't. No, it don't. It's set between 2 and 3. Sorry,
crikey!
But it's intertwined into this story.
Okay.
Because I will say to this day, like I said, Tekken has the best overarching story, and I'll say Tekken 7 has the best fighting game story campaign.
Better than the Injustices of the world.
Better than Injustice, and marginally better than the MK11, which was very good. But this is
the king,
the creme, in my opinion, and many others.
Interesting. So this playthrough in the present, you just banged through the campaign once and done. Was that it?
Once again, yeah. I dabbled with a few little, what they call it, arcade modes where you just go through 10 characters and the boss, that sort of thing, where you unlock some endings. But I'd already unlocked everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to play through that campaign again just because I remember it being very good, and like it says in the store thing, that it does sort of add this little innovative system, which probably ain't that innovative now, but back in 2017 it felt pretty surprising. But yeah, it's a great story and a culmination of the full 7 entries. Well, technically 9 entries because we got 2 tag tournament games as well, didn't we?
Yes, we did indeed. So how does the campaign work? Do you get told which character you choose, or do you pick a character and then you get an ending like based on that?
No, it's a bit like the Mortal Kombat one, where you go through an overarching story and it's sort of intertwines between all the different characters, and then you play as a set character. Unfortunately, you don't get any choice like in Mortal Kombat. I think I remember the last 2 entries of Mortal Kombat and Injustice, I believe,
the
didn't
second
it? Give
one,
you
yeah,
options. That's it. Yeah, that was quite cool. They should nick that off them.
Steal it,
steal that idea. But yeah, that's how it was. It was just sort of, I'm pretty sure, because it weren't too lengthy. I think it's probably about 4 or 5 hours. Probably about as long as Kirby, I'd say. Yeah, probably about 4 to 5, depending on your ability. Your skill.
Is it hard? Like if someone
there are sections.
Do you know if it like scales? I've heard that some of them make it easier if you die like 5 times.
Yeah, it could potentially, because there was some random spikes. There's a fucking notable spike that did get hounded. There is a character. I won't say, just in case people do see, if they do see it as a spoiler, but a very well-known character that is in the game. Everyone will probably know because it's so old and it's thing. But he makes, or she makes their way into the game, and the fight with them was very, very difficult.
Right.
And it was a sort of like a real spike. But I was like, "Cool, blimey!" And there's also like a bonus stage where you fight them, and again, it's one of the hardest things on there. And I was like, that's unnecessarily hard. Why is that? But I think it does have difficulty options. I think I remember to get the platinum, I think going like, right, I'm gonna have to lower this just to get that platinum, and then I eventually managed to get back and actually do it, a normal thing. But it was fucking hard.
Interesting. So we've got a decent campaign here, and it's one that ships you through different characters and events, so you don't be choosing that. Mechanics, combat. How's this stacking up to the other fighting games? Obviously, they've all got their own unique styles and whatnot. How's Tekken 7?
Yeah,
Does it still hold? Is that part of it holding up?
It still does. Yeah, it's a bit like in terms of combat and animations and stuff. It's very much like Monster Hunter. You look at the Monster Hunter's animations, and they backdate to that PS1. Well, you play a PS1 game, it's pretty much still the standard thing. They're still using the same bloody netcode or whatever they called it, and the fucking animations and that. You're still getting the same moves that
they're
they
not using the same netcode. Never internet back then.
Yeah. That's true. 1994. I never actually know what the netcode is. What is a netcode?
It's essentially It's basically how the connectivity between players works. So it's what determines how well it runs. Because that's why they make a fuss about this rollback netcode, saying that's platinum style. Like if you're gonna have a fighting game online, that's the best way to have it. So when a new one's announced, they're like, oh, they've not said if it's got rollback, and then there's always a big thing because there's like lag and it's just not as
what's
not
rubber
as
banding.
Rubber banding, that's it depends on the context.
Racing games as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so typically, I was playing a game recently that had rubber. Oh, wasn't recently, but Horizon Forbidden West. It has those races that you can do on the back of one of the machines.
Oh yeah,
those enemies are rubber band. Those races, are rubber banded. You can never get 100 yards ahead of them. They're always catch up to you and cause havoc, and it's infuriating.
Yeah.
So what I used to do with 18-wheeler in the arcade.
Oh, really?
There's a rival on that was rubber banded, and it's a bit of an old school tactic, but.
No, you always hear that link with these. No netcode. But yeah, it does formate that's the same old animations, the same sort of overarching moveset, but it does still hold up. And yeah, there's very, very stylistic, lots of particle effects, very like the stages are destructible and you can sort of smash through walls and you fall down into a different. That does still hold up to a sense. And yeah, it's just the graphics that sort of falter it. But the campaign, where it does shine, is this innovative storyline. So it's all set around the Mishima blood feud. If you're not a fan of the Tekken, it's basically this father and son.
I know that.
Father and son that keep chucking each other off fucking volcanoes and mountains because they hate each other so much, and then it sort of it expands into some Japanese anime style thing where people start turning into demons and stuff. But it all transcends into this big fighting tournament. They called it the King of Ultimate Fighters.
Oh, the King of Pancreas.
King of Pancreas. King of Ultimate Fighters. A tournament, the Iron King tournament. That's it. And yeah, it's a fighting tournament where the best fighters in the world to go, and whoever wins is the win. Throughout the game, you're just playing as it's a standard fight. 2D fight. Bosh, cutscene. Next cutscene. It turns into an Uncharted set piece.
Oh,
absolute shag-a-thon. It's amazing. There's quick time events. There's these hardcore anime cutscene fucking angles you get in that you've never seen in a fighting game. It's just stuff like slow mo in the middle of a fight. Probably wouldn't work, where you're fighting someone fucking with the old netcode and that.
Yeah, online, but
but in a single player game where you're fighting, it just makes it so more cinematic, and it's very, very cinematic, and it's just incredible. But yeah, you got these like I say, quick time events. There's lots of set pieces. There's this sort of overarching music that fits so well, and the story's great. It just sort of all centers around this sort of storyline that's been expanding for what was it? Fucking since 1994, was it? That game the original was released, something like that. And the story's done really well. It's like the perspective of a journalist that sort of had dealings with the family, and he's sort of trying to get the scope on the story, and that's how it's set. It's like this: you're from the journalist's side, and he sort of talks about coming into this fighting tournament and meeting all these characters, and then that's how you meet each character. It's just a really well thought out Tekken story, and it's a very well thought out gaming story, because you don't typically get that with fighting games. It's very box standard. You got the good guys versus the bad guys, and that's it basically. Whereas this is something a bit different, and it really does pay off well. It's a shame it's so short, really, because, well, I say short, it's, free. I suppose you ain't going to want this for fucking 30 hours.
30-hour campaign, please. Fighting game.
But I was enjoying it so much. I just wish it would have done maybe 10 max. But
I suppose that's where some of the advantages of having like a Street Fighter style, where you choose a character and it's slightly different with a different ending each time, gives it that replayability and longevity. Or even like we mentioned with Mortal Kombat and Injustice, where you could at certain points choose a different character just to feel like you've done something different. But I think it sounds like to me that this offers a bit more of a better campaign story wise. Just once you've kind of done it, you've done it, and there's nothing really extra to see. Just quickly, are there any other modes that this game possesses? You've got online. Does it have, like, I'm trying to think what it was called in Injustice, where you would play against the AI and like earn currance and get new gear and stuff?
Exactly
Multiverse,
that.
I think it might have been called.
Multiverse, yeah. It's essentially the same thing as that on this, called treasure mode. So you will fight progressively harder people, and you'd have like ranking. So you have, it goes through, I can't remember, it's some Japanese stuff. So you've got like Kai, I think it's called, and then you work your way up these sort of these fighting leagues until you get to the top. And you can do this all online, or you can do this all offline and against AI, but it pretends that you're playing against these fucking online people. And basically it's like treasure mode is called, and you get in-game currency, and then with that currency you can then buy. Basically, it's just like sort of cosmetic stuff. It's like different skins, different hairstyles, different weapons you can add and use. You can have like the stupid stuff, like you can have like a guitar on your back or a golf club that you can use. Dress yourself up in all gold, wear masks or whatever, and you can create your own characters using like, you could have play as Kazuya and use bloody Yoshimitsu's outfit.
Yeah,
you could really change it up and do it. But that's a cool mode. Then you've got your box standard offline modes, which are, like your singles, your arcade mode, your versus mode. There was a DLC mode that you had to pay for, though, which I never did get, and it has been in the Tekken series a lot, which is Tekken Bowling.
Bloody hell.
Have you ever seen that? It's a bowling. It's a full-on. I think this is because it used to be done. Does it still do? Namco. I think they done like a bowling game.
Oh, okay, right. It's a little.
It's Bandai Namco, isn't it?
Bandai Namco,
it still goes. So it is still them. And so there is a bowling mode. Like I say, the in-game currency that you could buy from the gallery mode, where you've got every single song that was on every single game, and the cutscenes of every single story, the openings and endings of every single game. There's so much nostalgia there for the long-time fans, and someone like yourself who you've never played a game. You can literally sit there through hours and watch every single thing.
Yeah, but then I've got to play through the campaign first, and I to unlock it all.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Skip all the cutscenes.
They've never really had campaigns like this. There was like a side-scrolling, or it's like a 2.5D. Beat 'em up thing.
I've seen that. Yeah,
6. I think that was in.
Looks like Street Fighter's looking.
I think there's one in 3 as well, and that's what Street Fighter 6 is about to do. So there was one of them, and then like I say, the bowling did. I can't remember what that was in. Possibly 5, maybe 4. There was another bowling, but you've got that. There's the dreaded fighter packs again, which I've not purchased. They're still fucking. I've looked at. You can get like a Ultimate Edition, which I probably would buy that if it had a decent upgrade to it, like a fucking 4K upgrade. But
yeah.
I'd probably buy that. But you've just got extra fighters that there are long times. So I'd like to give it a go, but I ain't paying 30 quid for them.
Not now.
The game that's from exactly.
Yeah.
But it's an overall great package. There's enough replayability for you to go and do this treasure mode, so you can literally unlock everything. You can all the concept art, all the bits of paper, the fucking notes, the guides. It's all there. It's sort of like this could have been the last one. They could have done this, and that's what they've given you. They've given you the lot.
Walked away
like
from
you get these Street Fighter compilations they do on Switch. You get them, the Championship Edition. It's got everything that ever's been since. This is essentially this of Tekken, and now they're bringing 8 out. So you're like, right, but
I thought they were going to draw a line under it, but no,
exactly,
they're still going with another what
Still
appears to be a
going.
sequel. Interesting.
But, yeah.
Well, look, we're outside the gaming gallery for the Dimp clan, and you got Tekken 7 in your hand.
Yeah.
Sounds like I should be unlocking these doors and we're going in because it's going to earn some level of recognition in this prestigious gallery.
Gallery. I have got the doors and we're going in, baby.
Excellent. Where are we going to place this then in amongst your own personal exhibition? Platinum, gold, silver or bronze are the options. There's the little chap again for the
As you are
video watchers.
I belong in the gold section. Absolutely phenomenal game. Best campaign for a fighting game there's ever been. Many should follow. Unlimited fun to be had. Modes to be had. Like I say, there's even a bit of bowling for people. If you're new to the series, you've got all the videos. If you're a fan of the series, there's nostalgia to be had.
Yep.
The ultimate fighting game, I'd say 7. Best of it for a long time. Gets itself.
Stop it! You'll get me excited.
Solid gold.
Solid as well. Not even scraping it like sometimes.
The only reason it ain't a platinum is because it looks dog rough.
Right.
Well. It looks like a PS4 game.
It's a PS4 game. Poor bastard.
No, it looks like a PS3 game.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'd say it looks like a PS3 game. I think that's the comments that people do say. So this next one could be if it's this again. With
them graphics.
With them graphics and this sort of level of campaign and storytelling and modes to be had. Keep those fighter packs away. We're sick of them. I think other people buy them, so they probably keep doing them. But yeah, if more of the same, then Tekken 8 could be a platinum for me, depending how it goes. But
he's already booked it in, it sounds like. He's
booked it in. But yeah, that'd be a day one of 100%.
Lovely jubbly. Well, that's going to close down this particular episode of Idle Game Chat. As usual, if you stumbled across this, you can subscribe on your favourite podcast app and you'll get our episodes as soon as they are ready for public consumption. YouTube.com/Dimp Digital. We post the video version of the podcast there. And there's an Idle Game Chat playlist if you want to catch up on all the old toot. And then if you want to, patreon.com/Dimp Digital and you can join the community. Nothing more for us to say here, though, other than thanks for your time and ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.